Hello folks, figured I would update some more stuff that I've been tinkering with on this combination of hardware. I've discovered that there's a nice version of the original Tomb Raider that has in the last few years been developed that not only works on modern systems, but they engineered it to work very well on XP as well. So, I present to you what I have found to be by far the best version of the original Tomb Raider running on Windows XP. I've got some nice, enhanced versions running on newer operating systems, but this one for XP is actually very nice. I like the way it looks. But yeah, I just figured I would show this just briefly. Yes, this is by far the best version I've ever seen running on XP. I've tried other versions and they don't look quite as nice. This is definitely a very enhanced version for XP. But yeah, it's not running on DOS or anything. It's a reverse engineer of the ATI Rage patch, I'm pretty sure, just based on the options that you have to scale the game. Also, I wanted to briefly discuss a cool way to faithfully play the old id Software games and of course Raven games. Pretty faithful to the original. In fact, I did some research and I found out that the versions of Chocolate Doom, Heretic, and Hexen are based off of the Windows 98 versions. So, that being said, I had to look and try different versions to find which one suited XP the best, and I found that these slightly older versions do the best. This is Chocolate Doom 2.2, which is about a 3 or 4 year old version of the game. And yeah, as you can see, it does all the classic demo mode built into the game, just like it probably did back in the 90s. I was playing the Super Nintendo version back then, so I don't know. Back in those days, I was a console peasant, so I didn't know. But I assumed that the older versions did play the demo mode and stuff like that out of the box. So, it just feels very faithful to the original game. In fact, as you can see, it's got the chunky low res look. There's no no filtering that of any relevance. Yeah, it definitely gives you that feel. I have to. But yeah, I'll show you another one here. Of course, I got the end Doom screen going, so just like, you know, you play on the original game. And then of course I got Strife here, that's Chocolate Strife. I got Doom 2, Hexen and Heretic. My favorite, this is my favorite of those games. Yeah, very nice. I'm glad to find, with the help of the community, that you can enjoy the classic style of games on cheap hardware. Like I said, that system that I've mentioned in other videos, I have $43 total in. That's with the SSD in it, and that is with the graphics card upgrade, which it didn't have. It didn't come with one. It came with everything else is bone stock, the way it came from the auction that I won. So got me a little old machine over there that's running XP Service Pack 3. I'm running an Experience Patcher, and I'm playing a pile of old classic late 90s, mid 90s, early 2000s games just fine. Basically with a display adapter. That's what that's. And I did more research. This is a Radeon HD 7350. It's a very hard to say, but it must be a semi-rare one because GPU Z does not list a 7350 with the 1 GB of VRAM. Yet this one shows that in GPU Z. And I found that kind of strange. Everything else checks out identical to a 7350. So, but anyway, yeah, if you want to get into some retro gaming on the cheap without having to, you know, go back and buy socket A and real old hardware, or try to figure out how to use special programs to get Windows 98 on your system, hey, I still say the sweet spot is XP Service Pack 3. Run it on a Terascale graphics card, and you'll get a lot of those old games running just fine. Some games, I will go ahead and tell you from experience, the first launch sometimes has a crash here and there, but usually after a first launch of a lot of these games, I've noticed that they it's like they correct themselves, and then they start launching just fine. GTA 2, I noticed that when I was watching the movie part of it. The first time I watched the movie part, it crashed, and then when I got back into it, I watched the movie again, and then I exited out or tried to start the game up, and it worked just fine. So, aside from that, yes, I can highly recommend a cheap platform, extremely cheap. You can buy. I mean, if you wanted to build you a system with this stuff, you can go online and get a G31, G41 motherboard, which this system has a G41 in it. So, you know, you can get those boards. I snatched one for $10. It didn't have the back plate on it, and you know, I thought, you know, I'm stocking up on some of those spare parts in case you know, one dies and I need a backup, you know. It's just cheap. It's a cheap way to get into retro gaming. Reason why I would highly recommend XP as the best all-arounder is because the ease. If you're new to the PC world, it's the easiest older operating system to get set up and run all these games. You don't have to use command prompts, you don't have to use anything special. It's basically plug and play, pop your games on it, and you're off to the races. So, you know, a couple programs if you want to give it a more retro aesthetic, which of course, like I said, I got this one basically 9X looking, and I got a lot of 9X era games on here. So yeah, this is Matt signing off.